Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office for Thursday, August the 17th, 2023. We're going to give you a special, very important, urgent update on Hurricane Hilary as it continues to rapidly intensify, now expected to become a Category 4 hurricane within the next 24 to 36 hours as it continues to move northwest at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. We're talking about historic flood concerns over the desert Southwest, including for Southern California. More on that in this video. So here's a look at the latest true color visible satellite imagery provided by Dr. Levi Cowan at tropicaltidbits.com. And what you're looking at here is a semblance and a structure that is seen with major hurricanes. And it doesn't surprise me if this is already a Category 3 hurricane. As we can see here, we have several spiraling bands. We'll look at this a little closer when we look at our mesosector imagery. But what we can see here is a semblance of several concentric rain bands that are circulating all the way around the system. And it looks like some of these bands are already moving in on some of the upshear side of the system. Now, while there is not a whole lot of wind shear here, when we look at this imagery, there is possibly about 5 or 10 knots of westerly shear hitting it in this general direction. The reason why I say that is this is pretty lopsided in some degree, with more of the deep convection and thunderstorm activity and cloud cover somewhat weighted on the eastern quadrant, while some of the western quadrant has a bit of that restriction of cloud cover and moisture. Now we're going to take a closer zoomed in view here on the mesofloater satellite imagery. These are per 1 minute images. We can see we have very, very deep convection that is really firing in a ring around the eye that we have here. So what you're left up with is a somewhat of a cloud-filled eye. It's not completely clear, but there is very deep convection, maybe some lightning activity that is circulating around the system. We're also, again, there is some dry air out towards the northwest of the system, because the reason why we see that is, or I say that, there is an outflow boundary here. And usually these thunderstorms develop, they get absorbed into that drier air, and then they collapse, and we get these outflow boundaries. So there is a semblance of dry air to the northwest of the system. But latest models do indicate that probably will get mixed out because of how strong and how broad Hilary actually is. Trying to get my words straight there on this video. But very organized, definitely, without a doubt, probably a major hurricane at this point. So looking at our latest numerical global computer models, this is basically illustrating what might happen based on the data that we have collected this morning. We have not gone any recon missions or upper-level drop zone missions, which actually is a simple upper-level jet that kind of samples the whole system to better feed those models with better numerical data. We haven't gone anything with that today, and I'm probably guessing they'll probably get a plane out there either tonight or tomorrow, maybe an upper-level drop zone mission to better feed the models better numerical data so they could better correct themselves. So this is a look at the European model. This is courtesy of College Ado page. I'm using something a little different because we can kind of zoom in a little bit closer. And what this is illustrating is we have some of that moisture working its way up from Mexico. So a lot of the moisture is going to come out ahead of the main system that is still off the screen here. Some of these storms, again, could be capable of producing some copious amounts of rainfall and some flooding. Let's go forward here in time. And we can see here by 12Z Sunday, so that's Sunday morning here on August the 20th, we have this push, this surge of moisture that gets advected northward. We have a southerly flow that's kind of stretching the system out on the northern side. And that's just because we have that system also being steered to the north. And we'll talk about the steering flow here in just a second. But a lot of rainfall here, copious amounts of flooding, I'm sure, You know, we're going to hear a lot about a lot of these dry washes like Death Valley that's kind of dry. There used to be a lake bed actually, or I think it's Badwater Basin, something like that. That could actually fill up over by the early part of next week. So going forward now into Sunday night, Sunday night into Monday morning, August 20th and the 21st, this is some very heavy rainfall impacting Southern California. Los Angeles, if you're in Banning, if you're in Palm Springs, if you're in San Bernardino, if you are in, say, Covina, if you're in not Citrus Heights, thinking of something different, but if you're in Santa Ana, if you're down here across San Diego, just be aware that even so this might not be a tropical storm or a depression, it's going to be a post-tropical storm or a depression. It's really not going to matter a whole lot. We're talking about rain that we have not seen in historical era with these rainfall rates that we're seeing that could exceed 2 inches an hour at times. So just keep that in mind. When we look at the GFS model, another numerical model that uses, again, the same principles, but is a different model, we can see again, like we have all this moisture moving up to the north across southeastern California, even some of that kind of getting advected into central California, southern Nevada. If we go forward here, again, that moisture is going to be quite heavy, and we might see rainfall rates here exceeding a half an inch an hour. And then really the big deal comes in Monday morning. So it's that Sunday late night, early Monday morning that most of the models have nailed down on exactly when the rain and when it could be very heavy at times. Looks to be Monday morning here. And again, some of these rainfall rates could exceed maybe 1 to 2 inches an hour, which would be more than enough to cause some very significant, potentially life-threatening flooding across the areas that we should not see that much rain very quickly. And remember, it's been dry in the desert Southwest for quite some time. Even so we've had the monsoon, we're going to see rainfall more than just the monsoon. So now another product that I like to look at here is the perceptible water amounts. So this is how much water is in the atmosphere, not just in the cloud form, but just how much water, just how much moisture is just kind of being advected northward. We have PWATs, which is another way of saying perceptible water. It's an acronym. 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches down here in southeastern California. It gets more, it increases further. Sunday morning into, say, Monday. Yeah, look at these PWAT values. 2.5 inches, perhaps. Look at this. In LA, 2.5 inches. That's exceptional. That is just astounding just to see that amount of moisture being advected north. We're also seeing a lot of PWATs around our area, so we might get some thunder boomers maybe Sunday afternoon, maybe even into Monday in our area. So some more interesting weather coming. And then look at this. By Monday, when that center moves onshore, you can see the wind vectors here kind of looping around. So we have the surface low right in here. That's going to lead to about 2.5 inches of total perceptible water. It's a lot of water being squeezed out due to orographic forcing. We have a lot of lift into the atmosphere too. This is going to get squeezed out, and it's going to be a doozy when it happens. So how much rainfall do the models indicate? Well, we got some help today from the 12Z guidance. This is the GFS model. We're indicating maybe as much as 3 to 5 inches of rainfall in the mountainous favored areas. Maybe the valley is getting at least an inch to maybe a couple of inches. Look at the higher elevations here near Palm Springs. 7 inches of rainfall. That is a lot of rainfall in a 2 or 3 day period. So there's going to be some flooding down here. And then, of course, maybe 4 inches of rainfall in the Los Angeles area. Got to really watch this. We've got to watch the guidance, the latest numerical prediction system when we get more of these models in. So now this is a look at the national blend model. This is taking a lot of the ensembles, not just one model, but this is a blend of everything. And we can see a lot of them indicate there's going to be 2+ inches of rainfall in southern Nevada, in Arizona, southwestern Utah, southeastern California. Even some of these mountains here could get as much as 5 inches of rainfall. That's from the national blend model. So this, maybe it's not going to be the wind so much with this system, but it is going to carry a lot with it, a lot of moisture, and moisture has to go somewhere. It can't go, just cannot mysteriously go away. It's going to get stretched out, and it's going to be forced within the upper level jet maximum of our trough. So now, actually, let's take a look at the GFS model here. I always like seeing our steering flow here, because I want to kind of make myself clear with what we're dealing with. Then when we look at our 500, let's go up to, is this our 500 millibar? Yeah, here it is. So the question is, where is this going to get steered? Okay, and a lot of people are probably going to ask me in the comments section, is this going to hit Central California? Is this going to hit Northern California? The center, that is. Most likely not. And the reason why is when we look at the GFS model here, this is at 500 millibars, so our 500 millibar steering, we have the simple players of the game. If we go back here in time, we have this trough that's going to be digging down across Central California, the one that has been keeping us fairly unsettled with the monsoon around. So this is the trough. We got this building ridge over the Midwest, so thicker heights that are going to be building in, warming temperatures. So the question here is, what's going to win out? Is this trough going to be able to have enough force to actually kind of pinwheel this a little bit to the northwest and then kind of shunt it out? Or is the ridge going to be more dominant while this trough is just not going to be very influential, and the system is able to kind of turn out like this? Harmlessly, well, not really harmlessly, be still a lot of rain, but maybe areas like, say, Bakersfield may not get much rain at all, versus some of the ensembles and their members indicating quite a bit of rainfall. So if we play this through on the GFS model, we can see this is the ridge that's going to be building in. And now we're talking a very strong 500 millibar ridge approaching 600 decameters. And we have this trough right over California. Take note of that. There might be some thunder and lightning Sunday night into Monday, because we got some of that forcing along with that trough. But take note where our system here is. This is going to ride the coast, and it's going to kind of go out like this. Because when we look at this, you know, this ridge is being sampled stronger. If we just kind of go back a few model runs, you know, like right over here, first of all, the system is also slower or faster on the GFS than it was, say, a few days ago. And the trough was not really as impactful. So the system down here was feeling more of the steering flow with this ridge. Now, if we look at today's model run, like we saw, we have this trough now that might make things a bit more complicated, but we're better figuring it out, and we are seeing a correction now more towards San Diego, where this system will likely make landfall, which I think might be the case. We got some other help from the HWRF model. This is a hurricane specialty model from Tropical Tidbits. And if we take a look at this, this is going to be, let's use a 12Z run from today. We can see again that moisture getting funneled up into southeastern California. Remember the rain that we showed you could be very heavy at times. And then we go forward here out to day 4. This again would be Sunday night into Monday. Really intense rainfall here. Some flooding, some debris flows, some mudslides, that sort of thing. And of course, the wind that comes with this, mainly all around the Tijuana, as well as, say, San Diego region, which could get the strongest winds. They won't probably be a big problem once this moves onshore, and maybe even Los Angeles. But again, where this goes is really what's going to be important, and that's going to kind of be the whole point and thinking of, is going to go further to the west? It's going to go further to the east. We just don't know. We know somewhere right in here is where I think the landfall might be. And this would be historical. I mean, it's been a while. It's been like decades since we have seen such a landfall. We just got an update on Hurricane Hilary. It is a Category 2 hurricane. I'm surprised they did not go major on this. We'll see if that happens tonight, but that is a very well-defined system by all standards, and it is moving to the west-northwest at about 14 miles an hour. So now, the latest track of this now brings this, looks like it's going to be onshore sooner, and it may not hit California until later, until Monday morning, perhaps. That's what most of the guidance indicates. But look at this. This is a tropical depression type area here, aimed at California. Yeah, that's Sacramento, that is Stockton, that is Fairfield, that is Los Angeles under that cone of uncertainty. So there is a possibility this could stay offshore more and move in like this, or it can just kind of go onshore like in this general favor. Okay, so that's a look at that. So now I want to give you guys some detail on how significant this could actually be. This is the key messages from the National Hurricane Center, and we did not get a new update from their product here as of now. This can take some time to come out. But heavy rainfall associated with Hilary may produce areas of flash flooding and result in mudslides over portions of Baja California Peninsula late Friday into Saturday. Rainfall impacts from Hilary within southwestern United States are expected to peak this weekend into Monday. Flash urban and aerial flooding is possible with the potential for significant, maybe even historic impacts. Hilary has the potential to bring significant, possibly historic impacts to the Baja California Peninsula and portions of southwestern United States this weekend and early next week. I mean, this is really concerning. Tropical storm warnings and watches are now in effect for southern portions of Baja California, sir, and additional watches or warnings will likely need to be later today or tonight, further areas to the north. And boy, it would be really, really interesting and very rare to see a tropical storm watch or warning to get issued in California. I'm not talking about Baja California at all. But going back to this again, it will not matter at all if this is a tropical depression, if it's a post-tropical depression, or if it's a post-tropical storm. I mean business, folks. This has the potential of being historic. Regardless of strength, it won't matter very much about strength, or because that's mainly due to wind. Be a lot of moisture that's going to be wrung out with this system. So tropical storm force winds could be possible around the LA area by Sunday night, and there is a 40 to 50% chance. So that is definitely a non-zero chance, or that's definitely not a 0% chance. That is definitely elevated, and these chances could go up based on how strong Hilary gets. Hurricane chances too. I mean, just barely clipping the Tijuana and San Diego coast. A 5% chance of hurricane force winds. Yeah, that's what we could be dealing with potentially as this moves towards the north eventually. So now, what about the rainfall? We're looking at slight to moderate risk for flash flooding in Los Angeles, Bakersfield, Santa Maria, San Diego, Yuma, Las Vegas. If you are in Cedar City, this is definitely a thing for you. Not ignoring Sacramento as well as portions of the Bay Area like Santa Cruz. There's a marginal risk for flash flooding with this too. Again, if any of these rain bands, they move up and they get caught in this flow, this could be a big deal. And I just wish for the best that people heed my advice. This is not for hype. This is not to get views. This could be historic. And I'm saying could be. I'm not going to say will be, because we just don't know the exact details of exactly where this is going to make landfall and how big will the impacts be. But we do know there's going to be a lot of rainfall, and I mean, please, folks, get ready for the worst, is all I got to say. Well, that's going to do with today's tropical weather outlook and discussion. Cannot do the Atlantic Basin right now. This is much more important right now. since it's going to be impacting potentially my area and Southern California. All right. Thank you all for watching. Share, like, and subscribe, and I'll be back with you more tomorrow with another update on Hilary.